You know, you're younger and nicer. Oh, that's nice to hear. Stick around a little longer. That's what greeted me, tired from my business trip, my husband and my sister talking like that. After mocking me, I started hearing unpleasant voices. For a moment, I thought about barging in and yelling at them. But I quickly regained my composure and pulled out my smartphone. Then, I slightly opened the bedroom door and recorded decisive evidence. They were so engrossed they didn't notice. I can't believe they underestimated me like this. I'll never forgive this. I've been made a fool of to this extent. No need for mercy. I sent the evidence I recorded to Amelia's husband, Asher. All set, we decided to confront them at the scene. Their faces were priceless when they saw us. Ella? What are you doing here? And why's Asher here too? Your sister-in-law told me. At those words, Amelia glared at me. I handed her an envelope. Their faces turned pale when they saw what was inside. I'm Ella Johnson. A 33-year-old working mom, raising a son. I'm not blood related to my parents. My mother was infertile, and they adopted me from a foster home. Ella's such a sweet kid. Yeah, we're so lucky she became our daughter. I'm forever grateful to my parents for accepting me like that. A year after I was adopted, my mother got pregnant with Amelia after fertility treatments. Since then, we were raised as sisters, not related by blood. Ella, what are you planning for your future? Don't hold back on our account. Well, actually, I've got a college in mind. After that, I moved to New York for college. I didn't return to my hometown for a job. Instead, I joined a company in New York. As a result of applying my expertise at work, I've been consistently achieving good results. I've been working hard every day for about 10 years. Hey Miss Johnson, can I talk to you for a sec? One day, my boss called me in. The discussion was about recommending me for a promotion to department head. I was overjoyed and accepted, then headed back to my desk. You're in a good mood, what's up? Then, my husband, Lucas, approached me. Lucas is younger than me, and there was a time when I was his mentor at work. After the mentoring period, he began pursuing me actively. I fell for you at first sight. Will you go out with me? Swept up by his passion, I agreed to date him. Eventually, we got married after I became pregnant. And then, we had our adorable son. In the beginning, it was tough juggling work and parenting, but with Lucas's help, I started enjoying the busyness. On a day off, I went out with Lucas and our son, Charles. Is that you, sis? Could it be Amelia? At that moment, a young woman approached me. At first, I didn't recognize her, but then I realized it was Amelia. Hey Lucas, long time no see. It's been a while, hasn't it, Amelia? Are you all out as a family? That's nice, I wish I could join. Amelia's words made me internally groan. We came here to shop for our son today. If Amelia joined, she'd likely say, I want to go there. I want this, and we wouldn't be able to buy what we needed. Today is a family day, just for the three of us. So, no, you can't join. Oh, you're such a Scrooge, sis. Ignoring Amelia's tantrum, I nudged Lucas and Charles to start walking. We managed to shake her off and entered a nearby restaurant for lunch. Wow, never thought I'd run into someone here. While eating, I reminisced about the past. Our parents loved both their adopted and biological children equally. They even cherished me more, saying, having Ella brought us the baby and Ella brought us happiness. So, I always tried to care for Amelia. But it seems my feelings didn't reach her. As she grew up, she became more demanding, always saying, it's not fair, you always favor Ella. I want what my sister has. I absolutely need it. Give it to me, sis. It started with a keychain. Though it was something I bought with a friend, Amelia begged intensely for it, and seeing our parents troubled, I gave it to her. That must have set a precedent. After that, Amelia constantly accused me of being unfair and tried to take things from me. Fortunately, my parents were on my side and scolded her, and since we had an age gap, there was a limit to what she could take. I'm being harassed by my sister. Annoyed by the situation, Amelia targeted my friends next. She went around telling my friends that I bullied her because we weren't blood related. Amelia was good at pretending to cry, and my classmates started to keep their distance from me. Some even said awful things directly or harassed me. That's not possible. Ella has always been fond of Amelia. In the midst of this, Lily, who bought the matching keychain with me, believed in me. She even fought back against the classmates who harassed me and warned Amelia not to lie. Because of this, Amelia and Lily didn't get along. I had been living peacefully since I separated from Amelia when I went to college. However, she recently got married and started living nearby. Sighing, I lamented the unexpected encounter. Mom, are you okay? Then, Charles looked at me worriedly. I smiled and brushed it off. Are you really okay? You're worried about Amelia, aren't you? While Charles resumed eating, Lucas asked me. I then shared with him the things about Amelia I had never talked about before. She was like that, huh? Lucas and Amelia had only met a few times, like during our wedding. And I hadn't brought her up in our conversations before. Since I don't know much about Amelia, I might not be the best person to vent to. Why don't you talk to Lily? Lily? Yeah. How about next week? I'll take care of Charles in the meantime. I nodded at his suggestion and immediately contacted Lily. A week later. Sorry to keep you waiting, Ella. Nothing. Sorry, too, for calling you so suddenly. I finally got the chance to talk to Lily. When I mentioned Amelia, I heard you ran into her and came rushing over with all the info. Saying this, Lily pulled out a report. Internally, I was impressed. Lily was using her observational skills and acting ability as a private detective. Her skills were well known. Wow, as expected. Let me have a look. Then, I reviewed the contents of the report. It detailed Amelia's recent behavior. Even after I left home, it seems she continued to play the victim and did as she pleased, making me out to be the bad guy. She apparently portrayed herself as the poor sister who was mistreated by her adopted older sibling. She apparently used this to attract men, but these relationships always ended quickly. How could she turn out like this with such good parents? I couldn't help but feel astonished reading this. By the way, how are things with Lucas? Suddenly, Lily asked me that. I tilted my head but responded that everything was normal. He's really involved in parenting, and he's even taking care of Charles today, you know? As I replied, Lily looked conflicted. I tilted my head again. Is something wrong? No, it's nothing. If that's the case, then it's all good. Lily shook her head to my inquiry. We chatted for a while longer and parted with smiles. Huh, Charles? Lucas? Ella? Oh, Mom. On my way home, I met up with Lucas, who was holding Charles's hand. Did you guys go out? Yeah. We thought staying at home might be boring, so we went out for a bit of shopping. Oh really? Did you have fun? To my question, Charles nodded, looking like he wanted to say something more. He clung to me without saying anything, tilting his head. Come on, let's head home quickly. Although puzzled, I hurried home at Lucas's urging. All the while, Charles stayed close to me. What do you want for dinner? Oh, I'll take care of it. Lucas said, heading into the kitchen. Should I help? No, it's fine. Can you keep Charles company? He seems to have missed you. I thanked him and turned to Charles, who, with a determined look, began to whisper something to me so Lucas couldn't hear. Shocked, but resolved, I decided on a course of action. Soon after, I received a call from Lily. Ella, I need to talk to you about Lucas. She revealed a certain truth to me, and we decided to take action. I wonder if you could go with him. It happened right after that. I was approached about a business trip. When I discussed it with Lucas, he casually said, go for it. Could I leave Charles with my parents? That's fine, but I can look after him. You come home later than me. I'm worried." Hearing my words, he agreed, saying that's true, and with Charles's consent, we decided to leave him with my parents. After explaining the situation to my parents, they told me, "Leave it to us." So, I left Charles with them, feeling relieved, and headed to the business trip location. By the way, I was supposed to go with a subordinate. "That's the situation. You might need to help out." "Understood." I discussed various things with him, talking about what's to come. I told Lucas it would be a week-long trip, but the work finished early, and I decided to return in 3 days. "Then, I'll leave the rest to you." After parting ways with my subordinate, we each headed to our homes. At that point, I didn't contact Lucas, but instead reached out to Lily. After receiving some advice, I made up my mind and entered the house. "I'm home." I called out, but of course, there was no response. Normally, Lucas would also be at work. However, I could feel someone's presence in the house, and there were familiar shoes, including Lucas's. So, I quietly sneaked into the house. And as I expected, I heard voices from the bedroom. "You're younger and nicer than Ella." "Oh, that's nice to hear. Just stay a little longer." The tired me, returning from a business trip, was greeted by such words from my husband and my sister. After being mocked, I had to start hearing unpleasant voices. For a moment, I thought about bursting in and yelling at them. But I quickly regained my composure and took out my smartphone. Then, I slightly opened the bedroom door to record decisive evidence. They were so engrossed they didn't notice. "I can't believe they underestimated me like this. I'll never forgive this. I've been made a fool of to this extent. No need for mercy." I sent the evidence I recorded to Amelia's husband, Asher. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Looks like they took the bait." Asher arrived quickly. As did Lily, whom he apparently contacted. I felt somewhat reassured by their presence. "All right, shall we storm in?" We got ready and decided to confront them at the scene. "What are you two doing?" The two were shocked to see us. "Ella? Why are you here? And why is Asher here too?" "Your sister-in-law told me." At those words, Amelia glared at me. I handed her an envelope. "Answer my question," Lucas demanded, looking at me. I thought it was troublesome but decided to respond. "The business trip ended in 3 days. I was accompanying her on the trip as her subordinate." Actually, Asher, my brother-in-law, is my subordinate and Lily's younger brother. So, I was able to explain the situation to him during the trip, and also managed to call Lily. "Convinced? Now, why don't you check the contents?" Lily urged with a smile. But her eyes weren't smiling, making them shudder. And then, their faces turned pale as they saw the contents. "I've collected evidence of the affair. It's well captured, isn't it?" Yes, the contents were evidence of their affair. They probably never imagined such proof would surface. "How can this be?" "Because I've been investigating you for some time now." "What?" Actually, Lily was initially investigating Lucas for a different reason. It was for a background check on her daughter's fiancé. "What? Fiancé?" Of course, Amelia was already married to Asher, so she wasn't the fiancé. And surely my parents wouldn't investigate Lucas now. "So, you were involved with others besides me?" Yes, Lucas was not only involved with Amelia but also with a junior at the company. The junior's parents became suspicious of Lucas and coincidentally hired Lily's detective agency. When Lily saw the name, she realized it was Lucas, my husband. She suspected his betrayal and started her investigation. The investigation revealed Lucas was approaching various women, not just Amelia and the junior. Well, am I not enough for you?" Lucas turned pale and trembled. Amelia, furious to learn that Lucas was involved with others. "You're hardly in a position to complain." But when Asher spoke in a cold voice, everything suddenly went quiet. He gave Amelia a cold, stern look. "After all, you're married to me. what are you doing? That's, well. Amelia, teary-eyed, struggled to find an excuse. Lily, standing next to Asher with her arms crossed, looked stern, probably reminding Amelia of the many times she had been reprimanded. The angry expression was just like her brother's. As I thought this, I started packing. Ella, what are you doing? I'm leaving you, Lucas, so I'm packing my things. Lucas tentatively asked, and I firmly told him. Ignoring his pleas of wait for me and forgive me, I continued. Let me help you with your bags. Oh, thank you. No problem. I'll send your things to this house, Amelia. Asher said, carrying my luggage for me, and we left the house with a smile. As we left, they started yelling, but... Enough already! You idiots! Lily scolded them sharply. Instantly, they screamed in fright and fell silent. Leaving them behind, we confidently exited the house. Then I parted ways with Lily and Asher and went to my parents' house where Charles was. Turns out, there was an affair after all. I told my parents that Amelia and Lucas were indeed having an affair. Hearing this, they sighed deeply and consoled me with apologetic expressions. Don't feel sad, it's not your fault. I had already been informed by Lily about their affair. The day after she shared the information with me, she said, I can't stay silent about this, and revealed everything. Even Lily's evidence alone could have been enough for a divorce. But somewhere in my heart, I wanted to believe in Lucas. That's why I didn't divorce him until I saw it with my own eyes. Charles, were you a good boy? Feeling sorry for my worried parents, I changed the subject. Smiling, my parents responded. He's just like you, a good kid. Such a sweet child. Charles, praised by his beloved grandparents, smiled happily. I was glad I left him here. Sorry, can I stay here for a while? To my question, they nodded, of course. A few hours later. As we were chatting and eating the souvenirs from my business trip. I knew you'd be here. Amelia barged in. It's your fault that Asher and I are getting divorced. If it weren't for you. Amelia glared at me, yelling those words. As I hugged a frightened Charles and was about to retort. Get out. You're no daughter of ours. Instead, my parents yelled back at her. Her focus shifted to them. What are you talking about? I'm your real daughter. Our daughter is only Ella. You were spoiled by your grandmother and grew up to be terrible. We can't think of you as our daughter anymore. My parents responded in an exasperated tone to Amelia's words. Yes, Amelia's twisted nature was triggered by our grandmother. She never accepted me, the adopted child, and doted on Amelia, her biological granddaughter. As a result, Amelia disregarded our parents' warnings and used me, the adopted sister, for her advantage. I always wanted to be real sisters with you. I could tell that struck a nerve with Amelia. You always act like that, thinking you're better than me just because you're not a biological child, even having a child of your own, something I couldn't do. I wanted a child with Asher too. Amelia ranted and raved. Indeed, she had no children. But that was her own doing. As her actions with various men resulted in her being unable to have children. You have no right to say such things to me. Shut up! Amelia raised her hand at my words. But as I braced myself, Charles stepped in between us. This is bad, Charles might be in danger. No, don't do this. Before she could reach Charles, my father grabbed her hand and stopped her. Then forcibly threw her out. Watching her leave, I hugged Charles. Don't do dangerous things like that. Sorry, I just wanted to protect Mom. As my parents said, Charles really is a good kid. I thanked him and stroked his head. Later, Amelia reluctantly went to Lucas. Lucas got sued for marriage fraud by the junior's parents. Lily informed me later. Moreover, it was discovered that Lucas had been engaging in affairs during work hours. Naturally, Lucas was fired. I thought I would never see him again, but he was more persistent than I expected. Please, Ella! Help me! Lucas, who had been lying in wait outside the company, clung to me as I arrived at work. Even as I ignored him and tried to enter the company, he kept obstinately getting in my way.
If you're going to cling like that, why did you cheat? I know it. You're the one who approached first. Well.
Yes, Lucas was the one who approached first. That day, after I went to bed, he found Amelia's address from New Year's greeting cards and visited her, claiming it was a work call. Amelia, a stay-at-home wife, was at home and welcomed him with "Ella was rude yesterday, wasn't she?" That's how he managed to get into her house and start their affair.
Lily confronted Amelia for me.
After returning to our respective homes, I told Lily about Amelia's visit. Knowing that Charles could have been hurt, Lily, infuriated, went after Amelia, who had been chased out. Amelia hadn't reached her house yet and was caught by Lily before she could escape. Confronted by Lily, Amelia, triggered by her trauma, spilled everything.
Did you really think I would help you? But I was really serious about you.
What is he even talking about? If that were true, he wouldn't have cheated in the first place. While thinking about this, I was about to call the police, reaching for my smartphone.
Enough already. I'll sue you for business interference.
At that moment, Asher arrived. He pulled me towards him and once again gave Lucas a cold look.
A guy like you, we don't need in our company. What?
Actually, Asher will be the next president of this company. I joined this company due to the good relationship I've had with them for a long time. Because of my excellent performance, Asher was assigned as my subordinate. And he was training to become the next president.
You're kidding, right?
Lucas, unaware of this, looked at Asher in disbelief.
It's not a joke. Leave now.
Asher's demeanor showed no sign of reconsideration. Dejected, Lucas left. By the way, Amelia knew about Asher's upcoming role as the next president. Furthermore, it seems Amelia genuinely loved Asher.
Getting a divorce was really tough.
Asher confided. I comforted him with a pat on the shoulder. And Asher gave me a troubled smile in return. Later.
Excuse me. Yes, thank you for your hard work.
I was called in by the president.
My son owes you one. And about Lucas, it's unfortunate.
The president started discussing the matter, looking a bit conflicted. Asher, concerned about the recent events, was going to train in a subsidiary for a while. It was probably a good idea to put some physical distance between him and Amelia, considering her persistence.
So, I've been thinking about handing over the project I had planned for my son to you. Of course, the promotion to department head that was originally planned will still stand.
I felt honored by this and agreed to take on the responsibility. With this, I should be able to live comfortably even without Lucas. Since I'll be busy, my parents have agreed to look after Charles. By the way, Lucas wasn't taking care of Charles. You know, I was actually staying with my dad's parents. He had been staying with his in-laws, and it seemed they weren't too happy about it. Charles confided to me secretly one day. I vowed to myself that I wouldn't let him feel that way anymore. Fortunately, my parents, who are not biologically related to Charles, adore him as their own grandchild. With these worries gone, I'm even more motivated to work hard. It seems that Asher also managed to successfully distance himself from Amelia.
That kid is doing well in a subsidiary.
Lily told me when we had tea together. At that time, I learned about Asher's situation.
Asher has always been a hard worker. I'm sure he'll be fine. Yeah, about that. I was wondering if you could meet him sometime to show your support? I'll take care of Charles.
Surprised, I tilted my head in response. I don't mind meeting him. But from the way she said it, it sounds like she wants us to meet alone.
Well, I guess you'll understand once you meet him,
she said with a mischievous smile. I don't fully understand the situation, but I've decided to meet with Asher. Charles is being looked after by Lily, a little distance away.
I was surprised when you suddenly wanted to meet. Yes, well, I have been wondering how you've been since then. Thanks to you. It's still new to me, but I'm doing my best,"
Asher said with a smile. I felt bad about the trouble caused because of Amelia, and I wanted him to be happy. As I was thinking this, Asher looked at me seriously and said,
"I like you, Ella." "What?"
I was taken aback by his sudden confession. Apparently, Asher has liked me for a long time. However, due to the age difference, I only saw him as a younger brother. Because of this, he had given up on me.
"That's why I got together with Amelia, who said she would console me."
It seems Amelia knew that he had feelings for me. She took advantage of that knowledge to start a relationship with him. When I married Lucas, Asher completely moved on and decided to marry Amelia.
I did love Amelia. I don't know what she was thinking when she approached me, but she was a support to me.
Amelia must have really loved Asher too. That's why, among many men, she chose to marry him. But now they are divorced, and she's angry at me.
I was quite shocked when I found out about Amelia's betrayal through my sister. You've had a tough time, Asher. I'm sorry, I'm not ready for those feelings yet. Besides, I want to prioritize Charles right now. I understand. I'm not in a rush for an answer,"
he said with a smile. I was touched by the loving look he gave me, and my heart skipped a beat.
"Mommy, are you done talking?" Yes. "We're done,"
I replied, turning my attention to my son Charles as he ran up to us. I lifted him up, now noticeably heavier, and he smiled happily.
"Charles, I hope we can continue to be good friends." "Huh? Asher, we're already friends, aren't we?"
Asher, being Charles's uncle theoretically, often played with him. Therefore, Charles tilted his head in confusion, to which Asher chuckled and agreed.
"We might see each other less, but I hope we can stay as close as before." "Yeah."
Charles nodded with a smile, and Asher gently stroked his head. From then on, Asher made time to come and see us. He gave Charles more attention than Lucas ever did, and Charles grew quite fond of him.
"Ella! Charles! Why are you here?"
While we were playing in the park, a disheveled Lucas appeared. Apparently, since divorcing Asher, Amelia had been wreaking havoc daily. The two of them had paid a substantial alimony, and Lucas couldn't afford to replace the furniture and appliances Amelia had destroyed. Hence, his disheveled appearance.
"You must have missed Daddy. Let's be together again, the three of us."
"I don't need Daddy," Charles interrupted Lucas firmly. Lucas, taken aback, asked, "You don't?"
"Me and Mommy, Daddy doesn't like us, right?" "Well, that's not.
Mommy and I have Asher now. So, we don't need Daddy anymore." Lucas walked away with a dejected look. And I turned back to Charles and Asher with a smile.
"Charles, would you be happy if Asher became your daddy?" "Yes. I'd be happy."
Charles beamed. Tears welled up in Asher's eyes.
"No more tears, or you can't be a daddy." "You're right. Let me say it again. Please let me be your husband, Ella, and Charles's daddy."
I nodded with a smile. After being rejected by us, Lucas became like a soulless man and apparently quit the part-time job he was doing. Amelia, of course, was furious about this, but he just ignored her. Fed up with Lucas, Amelia left and disappeared into the night. Lucas was taken back to his in-laws' house by his former parents-in-law.
It turns out he really did love me.
I learned about Lucas from my former in-laws. When they expressed a hope for me to reconcile with Lucas if possible, I immediately responded, "Charles and I already have someone who cares for us deeply." Hearing this, my former in-laws quickly gave up.
"Hey, Charles, do you want to see your former dad's grandparents?"
"No, I don't want to see them for a while." My former in-laws, who frequently took care of Charles and didn't feel good about that, said sorry about it after learning the whole story. However, Charles seems to want to keep his distance for now. Since Lucas is at his former in-laws' house, we'll just become estranged. Because we don't need them anymore.
Asher is coming over next Saturday. Really? I have so much I want to talk to Asher, my dad.
Charles said with a smile, and I gently stroked his head. After that, Asher and I started dating. And when Asher returned from the subsidiary to the main company, we decided to move out of my parents' house. We're planning to live together as a family of 3 in our new home. Please marry me, Ella.
Yes, I'd love to.
Soon after, I accepted Asher's proposal and we got married. My parents and Lily blessed us, saying, "May you be happy this time," and Charles was delighted, exclaiming, "I'm happy Asher is becoming my dad."
I know it's odd for me to say, but Asher will definitely make Ella happy.
Lily saw how Asher loved me and witnessed his heartbreak when things didn't work out. That's why she encouraged him to pursue me when I divorced Lucas.
I know both the good in Ella and the good in Asher. That's why I want you both to be happy.
She has always been there for me, pushing me forward. For her sake too, I must be as happy as possible.
So, let's go out for a drink to celebrate next time. Ah, sorry, I can't do that. Why?
Lily looked puzzled, but then I smiled and gently touched my belly. Realizing what I meant, her face lit up with joy.
Could it be? I'm expecting our second child. So, I can't join you for drinks. Of course. Wow, I'm as happy as if it were my own news.
She genuinely seemed thrilled. Her smile was so infectious that I couldn't help but smile too.
Charles is excited too, saying, "I'm gonna be a big brother." Wow, that's so like Charles. He's going to be a wonderful big brother, I'm sure.
When I told Charles he was going to have a brother or sister, he was so happy he practically jumped for joy. Asher felt the same way, and once he lifted me up in his excitement, Charles scolded him, saying, "Don't strain Mom's body."
So, I want Lily to help us with naming the baby. Really? I'll think really hard about it.
Suddenly, Lily became immersed in thought about what to name the baby. Watching her, I couldn't help but smile. From now on, I want to build a home where Charles, Asher, and our unborn child can all laugh together. I swore that in my heart.